All right, welcome everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Those who just joined in, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending where you are in the world. I'm going to be introducing you to Unify, real freedom, real simple, and it truly is really, really simple. Before we begin, I should read this disclaimer. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there's a few things that it's really important you understand. Unify is not a registered investment advisor and does not provide professional financial investment advice specific to your financial and life situation. It's that last part that's important. So they're a publisher of information. They're empowering you to take control of growing and protecting your own money, teaching you how to do that, teaching you how to tap in to what the tools and the principles that the wealthy elite use to make their billions and hundreds of millions. Somehow that got skipped in the school lessons, right? I don't know why, but somehow we didn't learn these simple principles, and we certainly didn't learn how to apply them. We certainly weren't told that we even should consider it. Unify is changing that. They're putting us in touch with simple tools, simple knowledge to take advantage of the same principles. And maybe you don't want to be a billionaire. Maybe you don't want to even be a millionaire. That's certainly an option here if you want to be a millionaire. But if you just want to have a better plan for retirement, maybe retire a little sooner, maybe instead of have a trajectory that you might presently be on where you're seeing your lifestyle is going to actually diminish because of a diminishing return in financial assets over time, to actually flip that around and see your lifestyle improve over time. Or if you're a grandparent or a parent like myself, and you want to teach your kids and set them up for a completely different situation as they enter college years or beyond college, so that they're not on the bad end of the stick of compounding interest, but they get on the good side of it. I'm going to show you a conservative, very conservative, yet accelerated path to wealth building. I've never seen anything like it. I'm extremely proud to represent it. One other thing I should mention is trading is inherently risky. Not all trades will be successful. I'm going to show you real numbers, and we'll show you they do not all have to be successful, but you should know that in order to be very successful overall. I'm going to show you the numbers. You will experience losing trades if you trade. This is so important. I will say it again. You will experience losing trades if you trade. And the whole point is to learn how to remove emotion from it, to not risk more than you're able to lose so that your emotions aren't through the roof, and to set yourself up with a conservative plan to get on the receiving side of compounding interest and the advantage of investing into rising asset classes so that you can flip the switch. So you can flip being on the bad side of compounding interest and get on the good side of it. Again, for retirement, if you're a parent or you're young yourself, to set yourself up early in life. It's really remarkable. Now, we just talked about the risk of investing, which by law we have to emphasize, and I think it's important that we emphasize. But I don't hear people going around every day talking about the risk of the status quo. I don't hear people going around talking a lot about the risk of the middle class mindset and approach to things. Most people in the middle class, they feel it's successful if their child goes to college. Yet here in North America and other parts of the world, not everywhere I know, but certainly here in the US, kids start out mostly in massive debt early in life now. Massive debt with compounding interest on the bad end of compounding interest right out of the nest. And that's not risky. I see college graduates all the time serving me dinner at the restaurants. And when I talk to them about their plan, they don't have one. And they're stuck with this huge debt. Is that not risky? That's normal now. And then you've got people heading into retirement or in retirement with a very dire picture if they don't do something. That's not risky, and the plan they were sold all their life isn't risky. We need to put things in perspective. In today's world, far too many people are struggling financially. There's massive debt loads. Many are just a few paychecks away from big trouble financially. A lot of you are experiencing that, or you know somebody who's experiencing that, and they have no plan, and they're desperate. Many are living on credit, paying today's bills with tomorrow's wages. very common now. Wages are falling behind, housing prices increasing 2 to 3 times faster than salaries. Here in Portland, Oregon, I mean, man, a modest house, 700 grand. Modest house, 700 grand. You know, and that's a big part of the problem too. You need another plan, man. And what I'm going to be showing you today is a conservative, ultra conservative, accelerated plan to wealth building. And again, when I say wealth, it doesn't necessarily for you have to mean millions. It could. It doesn't have to mean millions. It could just mean having a trajectory that where year after year, your finances are getting better in a passive compounding way instead of worse. Really remarkable what I'm showing you. Who is Unifi? Unifi is a team of specialists in the financial publishing field. Understand that if you're new to trading and you're new to all of this, it has been made ultra simple. This is a genius packaging of opportunity in investing in rising asset classes for the mainstream, for the masses, for anybody willing with their mindset just ready to make a dramatic change, conservatively starting. So don't feel like you have to be an experienced trader to take advantage of this. Not at all. Our purpose, by the way, if you are an advanced trader, this is certainly an extraordinary opportunity for you as well. I just want everyone to understand this has been designed for everyone to be able to take advantage of the compounding growth aspects of rising asset classes like Bitcoin, like crypto, but in a way that is conservative, in a way that you are protected, in a way where you are in control. So it's not like anything you've seen before, I assure you. Our purpose to share the best wealth building strategies, tools, and financial principles that protect, grow, and accelerate wealth, regardless of your available starting capital, which is why I emphasize, I mean, we're talking conservative starting point, and I'm going to show you real numbers of how that can turn into something life-changing and extraordinary, which is why you'll notice I'm a little emotional about this, because if I had access to this information 20 years ago, you know, even if though we didn't have Bitcoin and crypto, but applied it towards the dot-com boom, it would have changed my life. Now, I've made a lot of money. A lot of you followed my career. You know, 7-figure years was commonplace, a couple 8-figure years revenue, but did very well. But I didn't understand these principles, so I didn't put my money to work for me. I lost a lot of money on the stock market. I lost a lot of money investing in silver and commodities. I lost money in crypto and altcoins until I found Unifi. And I didn't have a plan, and I didn't have a strategy, and I certainly wasn't putting time to work for me in any sort of way. So I am very emotional about this because it's life-changing. This is hard to read, and I apologize. These slides were designed for a PC, and I'm on a Mac right now, but I'll read this to you. It says, to build wealth, you must be able to make money while you sleep. Warren Buffett said that, who's quite a conservative guy, actually. Warren Buffett said that. So I know a lot of people, you know, they think that's pie in the sky. It's not. To build wealth, you must be able to make money while you sleep. And while, again, you may not want to be a billionaire like Warren Buffett, you don't have to have those kinds of goals or even have, you know, astronomical goals. You could have modest goals. You could just want to retire well or sooner, or help a spouse retire sooner, or set your grandkids or kids up on a better trajectory than they're currently on, and to teach them and show them how to do things in a way where they're growing and getting ahead instead of going downhill and living off credit. You can apply the principles of the wealthy in order to accomplish modest, reasonable, and extremely important goals that most people simply don't have a plan to accomplish, and really it should be a human right to be able to, and everyone's just burying their head in the sand. This is a solution to being able to do what the wealthy elite do, but on a scale that you choose. So Unifi does this in 3 ways. 1, wealth building strategies. We're talking about emerging asset classes like Bitcoin. 2, wealth building tools. And I'll talk about those tools today that they give you to take advantage of it, keeping it super simple, super easy, so anyone can do it. And I mean that truly. We'll show you, we'll go into that in detail. Number 3, financial principles, compounding. Now, most of us got out a calculator at some point in our life. A teacher or somebody wanted to show us in math class the power of compounding. And if you take 1 penny and you multiply that by, you double it, multiply it, and multiply it, and you double the penny every day for 30 days, it turns into an astronomical amount of money. A lot of us understood that concept of compounding, but most people are on the bad end of the stick of it and haven't figured out how to get on the good side of it and get it working for you. So as the months and years go on, your financial picture looks better. Most people are in a situation where it looks worse and worse, which is why credit is maxed out and why a lot of financial experts believe the economy is going to collapse again because we're in that situation. Unify is teaching people how to tap into the power of compounding, starting very conservatively by using these wealth building tools and these wealth building strategies I'll talk about today. So first, let's talk about the wealth building strategies and the emerging asset classes, Bitcoin. Now, when it says emerging asset classes, because Unify is not going to stop at Bitcoin. We're just here now because that's the emerging asset class that is extraordinarily lucrative and opportunity with high return potential, even if Bitcoin's going down, by the way. And if you're not a trader, you might not know how that works, but even if Bitcoin's going down, you can be making astronomical sums. It's the volatility. Real quick, in case you're brand new, I'm going to explain how that works. If you sell here and then you buy back in down here, you just made a bunch of free Bitcoin, and then it goes up, and now you're compounding your returns. Anyway, don't have to worry about that right now. I just want you to understand, even if Bitcoin is going down, you can make a lot of money. Certainly, experts believe long-term it's going to be going up extraordinarily, high. We'll talk about that in a minute. I just want you to understand that Unify is going to cover other asset classes, emerging asset classes in time. Right now, the focus is on Bitcoin because that's where it's at. Bitcoin's global acceptance. Global financial centers are heavily invested, billions being invested in blockchain internationally. Blockchain's the technology behind Bitcoin. Bitcoin thriving in countries with poor banking services. If you go to a lot of areas in Southeast Korea, a lot of you were on yesterday's call where John Kinnear was with me here, and he shared how, he's in Philippines, Seoul, Korea. You walk into a 7-Eleven, a convenience store, which are everywhere, and it's not unusual to be able to exchange with Bitcoin at the counter. So this idea that people are only in Bitcoin to trade with it is nonsense. And a lot of the underdeveloped world, and now even the developing world, you're seeing more and more people use it. It is a huge advantage over services like Western Union to be able to send money across borders. It is far cheaper and is the preferred method for those that can get access to it. And more people are getting access to it every day. As that demand increases, the price goes up. Microsoft accepts it. MasterCard's integrating it. Amazon's moving towards it. Starbucks is also involved in it now and will be taking payments with it. CNBC recently said Bitcoin has the best chance of dethroning gold as the globe's ultimate store of value. Writing's on the wall with this one, guys. Now, what one Bitcoin could historically bought you, to put things in perspective, 2011, one Bitcoin would have got you a pack of gum. In 2013, a bag of groceries. In 2015, an iPad. This year, a Bitcoin might buy you a motorbike. In 2025, who knows? But it's believed that it could go to 100,000, 200,000 more. It is a emerging asset class. Now, a lot of people are worried that they've missed the boom, the Bitcoin boom. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's extraordinarily early. If you remember the dot-com bubble, just to put this in perspective, here are some companies that came after the dot-com era, after the boom. Apple, Google, Facebook, and I mean Apple in its huge success, Amazon, Netflix, and there are so many others that came after the boom. So what we have to understand is we haven't even seen the Bitcoin boom yet, and all of the great cryptocurrency assets and emerging asset classes in the cryptocurrency industry that will fall after Bitcoin, we don't even know of them yet. That's how early we are. You are so extraordinarily early to the game. Bitcoin experts agree this is only the beginning of blockchain opportunities. So that's number one. You need, in order to get accelerated growth and to get ahead of the credit lines or the diminishing returns of your present financial situation, you have to be vested in emerging asset classes. And right now, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is where it's at. It's not where Unify is going to end, but it's where it's at right now and will be for many years. Many years. But you need to be able to take advantage of it. And so number two, Unifi offers you wealth building tools so you can take advantage of it. This is where Unifi helps solve the problem. This is where Unifi comes in. So we're going to talk about Prosperity U, universal signals, advanced signals, and altcoin reports. So first, let's talk about Prosperity U. This is just a place to get educated. And, you know, the way they go about it, it is what makes it so useful. I've listened to hours upon hours upon hours of training on YouTube outside of this, and you have to sift through so much information, it's not realistic for your average person to do that. Prosperity U condenses it all down into extraordinarily succinct, I mean, genius level, succinct, useful data to move a person very quickly, even if you don't know anything about trading or anything at all, within a very short period of time. And some of these videos are 1 minute, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, covering a broad range of topics. Now, your initial enrollment in Unifi includes access to Prosperity U. It includes access to all the tools I'll be talking about. In Prosperity U, you get Cryptocurrency 101, easily learn how to buy and sell Bitcoin, wealth building strategies and tools, using the financial secrets of the wealthy elite, access anytime from any device, of course, and much more content from a growing, it's like continually adding to it, video library to help you quickly, and this is the point, very short videos, very well done, quickly get integrated into what you need to know to take advantage of everything. So that's Prosperity U. Now let's talk about the universal signals, and this is when things start to get exciting. So this tool is called the universal signal, a process simple enough for anyone to use. And as John Kinnear said yesterday, if you can do online banking, if you can log into your banking online, your savings account, you can do this. Like, it's not any more complicated than that. I would go as far to say as it's actually a lot easier. My bookkeeper does all my online banking. So I don't like that kind of stuff, man. John was saying he was a little embarrassed to admit that he put off doing online banking until recently because he was intimidated by it. When he said that, I was like, oh man, like I guess I'm in real bad shape because like I don't even do online banking. My bookkeeper does it because I can't stand that kind of stuff. This is the universal signal is easier than that. No experience required to succeed. Protect and grow regardless of Bitcoin price movement. Long-term trend trading. For those of you who've never traded before, I'll talk about what that is so you understand it. Less than one trade a month historically. So if you look, okay, so what's a signal, right? If you're brand new, and I know those of you that aren't brand new to all this, this is somewhat, you know this, but not everybody does. Like, what's a signal? To understand what a signal is, you must understand that most of the trading that's done on NASDAQ, Dow Jones, and the international financial markets outside of crypto, even outside of Bitcoin, and in Bitcoin, but I mean everywhere, with currency, with stocks, commodities, is done by computers. And you probably heard that. It's done by computers. And what the computers are doing is something called technical analysis. It's something that humans can do too, but computers can process data so much faster. They can process movements in the market. There's a big sell-off somewhere, a big increase in volume or a steady increase in volume, patterns like higher highs and higher lows. Like, for example, if a stock or a particular commodity or Bitcoin, it goes up and then it goes down, but then it's going down less than it did before, and then it goes up a little higher, and it goes down a little less, and there's like this, it's called higher highs and higher lows. It's going up. It's tracking all this data, volume in the charts, and the computers are able to do this technical analysis at a rate that humans can't do. And so it's seeing what patterns are there, and historically speaking, it's able to determine what's most likely to happen. It's working off of probability. Ron Monterulli, the CEO of Unifi, had been doing that and providing that to wealthy clients for a very long time. And then in the traditional markets. Then about 2.5 years ago, he applied that towards cryptocurrency, was offering that to friends and to clients. But then they decided to package it to provide it to the masses. It's technical analysis, proprietarily owned by Unifi, using computers and AI to anticipate this. I'm going to show you the real numbers of how the signal's fired and what the results were. But that's what a signal is, basically letting you know, should you buy or should you sell. The universal signal is writing long-term trends, meaning you don't need to watch it every day. The other signal I'm going to share with you, the advanced signal, you're going to get notified all the time. It's for people who are advanced, and you have to trade more. Universal signal, you don't have to pay much attention at all. If this one's writing long-term trends, meaning like right now the signal says exit. It says don't be in Bitcoin. So you log into the site, it's red, says exit. Don't be in Bitcoin. Long term, it's going to go down. Short term, it might go up, down, up. You don't have to pay any attention. I'm going to show you the numbers and how big the returns can be without you having to pay that much attention. It triggered only requiring you to do one trade a month historically over the last year or so. So that's how infrequent it is. You still want to log into the site from time to time and see if it changes. Maybe stay in touch with whoever referred you and they can let you know when it changes. But super simple, man. I mean, it only takes like 30 seconds to do a trade, or maybe a minute or two, depending on how used to it you are. So if it's one trade a month historically, we're talking about a couple minutes a month investment. If you just want to use the universal signal, let's look at the numbers. Anyway, anyone can participate regardless of schedule is the point there. Let's look at the numbers. So universal signal results between July 24th, 2017 and September 9th, 2018, the universal signal triggered 7 total trades. So the computers are looking at all these different algorithms, et cetera, et cetera. They can see it triggered 7 times with an 85.7% winning trade rate. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to have the exact same success going forward, but we can look at the historical data to get a sense of if they know what they're doing and if these signals are effective. The starting BTC value in this example is $5,000. Now, again, this could be $500. This could be $250. You can start wherever conservative is for you, wherever it's safe for you to risk that amount of capital. That's where you start. We're going to use in this example 5,000. Now, again, the actual signal did this. I'm just saying you can start with 5,000, with 500, and the percentage gain would be the same. Following the signals between July 24th and September 9th, they triggered 7 times. You would have turned 5,000 to 34,000. The total fees were $228 because there's trading fees. Total gain almost 600% in that time period. That's an average monthly gain of 15.45%. We're going to get out the calculator pretty soon and show you if you have $500 starting capital, which is pretty conservative for most people in terms of having a real strategy for setting yourself up for retirement, setting your kids up. I mean, $500 is pretty conservative for most people when you're talking about actually having a solution to all of your financial problems. We're going to show you with even a much lesser, more conservative return rate, how big that $500 can become because of compounding. Now let's compare these results to if you just bought Bitcoin and you held it. So again, we're talking about between July 24th, 2017 to September 9th, 2018, following the universal signal, which is super easy to do. You don't have to hardly trade at all, only triggered 7 times in a year. Someone would have turned $5,000 into $34,000, 595% return. If they bought and hold, just bought Bitcoin in July 24th last year, they would have turned that into 11,000. Not bad. They would have more than doubled it. That's 128% return. But you can see a huge, huge difference. I'm going to get the calculator out in a minute to really drive this home. Again, how you can turn a conservative amount of starting capital, like $500, for example, and because of the nature of the interest return on a rising asset class, and with the signals and other tools here, how you can turn that into something extraordinary. But first, let's talk about the advanced signal, because that's also a tool that is available to you, but this is for people who are more advanced. This is for people that have either traded before or want to learn how, because they do teach you how, and it still is simple, but it's more involved. You maximize your trading results for more experienced traders. There's more signals, one signal every 1 to 2 days. So you're going to get beeped on this one. You're going to get beeped on your phone or on your computer or both. Every time a signal comes in, it's going to say time to buy, and it's going to give you the price. Or it's going to come in and say time to sell, and it's going to give you the price. But it's more constant, more frequent. So this is something that isn't recommended for most people because you have to pay attention. It's always there at your disposal. You can always do this one later. Learn with other advanced signal users globally. So we have Telegram groups that you can work together with others, like you're getting support, members, Telegram support and training. So you're learning how to do stop loss, trailing stop loss, take profits. Much, it's more hands-on than the Universal. Universal, you don't have to do all that. Signal prompts to your smartphone. You can transition from Universal to Advanced if so inclined at any time. Something I mentioned at the beginning of the onset of today's presentation, I was going to emphasize something about this. In light of yesterday, Advanced Signal came in to buy, and then Bitcoin dropped. So like you get a buy signal, you're supposed to buy, and then like not long after, it just plummeted. What the heck happened? If you're doing the advanced signal, you need to understand that that can happen from time to time. And even with the results that I'm going to show you, that happened. Now check this out. I'm going to circle back around to that. Check out the results of the advanced signal between July 24th last year to September 9th, 2018. There were 228 total trades, because this is a lot more frequent. 54% of them were winning trades, but that means almost half of them were losing trades. And so this isn't for the faint of heart. Like, you're going to lose half your trades on the advanced signal. Remember, Universal was much better than that. Universal, you don't have to pay attention to the day-to-day, week-to-week up and downs. Universal is for most people. Advanced, about half win and about half don't, but you win a lot more than you lose on the wins than you lost. So let's look at how it actually broke down. If you started with $5,000 in Bitcoin on July 24th last year, your ending balance would have ended up being $39,222. Your fees would have been a lot higher because you're trading more. There's about 0.01% fee on each trade. And so as you're making money, that percentage, you're getting charged more in fees because you're working with more, because you're making money from all these trades, as it's going up. So the total fees over $7,000, but the total gain, even counting fees, is 684%. Now, that's just a little bit better. We were just under 600% with the Universal, and you didn't have to hardly trade at all. So you might think, well, why would you bother with Advanced? Because you actually can make a lot more than just these numbers, because of the trailing stop loss that they teach you and the profit taking. In fact, over the last 4 weeks, if you look at the week in review, every week they report, here's what the signal results were, here's what you'd make if you followed the signals exactly as given, here's what you'd make if you applied stop loss and profit taking as taught, and it was over 28% return in the last 4 weeks. So if you apply what's actually being taught, advanced signal is designed to be done with more advanced techniques like stop loss that they teach you and that you're supported to know how to do. And it is still very simple, but it's more hands-on. And then the returns are even much higher than this, which is why a lot of people choose to do it, who want to get into trading and want to get into learning how to do it and want an easy inroad to do it. If you've never traded before, it's highly recommended that you start with Universal. And if you want to move into Advanced, first you pay per trade for a month, you get in the Telegram groups, you learn how to do trailing stop loss, you learn all of that, and then you move into the Advanced after about a month of paper trading, which is just basically keeping track of your trades, pretending like you traded, and seeing how you're doing, and then learning if you did it right. And then once you got it down, then you could start to really capitalize. I want to come back to what I was mentioning earlier. With these results, even with the 684%, look, almost half of them were losing trades, and it's still like this huge return. Because lots of times, the same thing that throughout this period, July 24th last year to September of this year, there were lots of times that a signal was wrong, and it still had these amazing returns. You have to understand that it's a longer term trading is a longer term game. You can't just watch it week by week, month by month. You're going to misunderstand what's going on. You have to do it as a process, and then you succeed. Again, advanced is not for everybody. Universal is for everybody, but everybody could grow into advanced if they want to play around with it with a small amount of money. And like I say, last 4 weeks, 28%. If you applied the trailing stop loss and profit taking as they teach, it's quite a friggin' return, man. That's insane for those that are so inclined to do it. But I want to emphasize universal. Universal is for everybody, even if you've never traded before and never want to get into all of that. And it's a brilliant, brilliant product. Now let's compare Advanced Signal again, same data, to if somebody had just bought $5,000 in Bitcoin in July of last year, they would have more than doubled it. So we're comparing a 684% return to 128% return. And again, the returns are even massively much higher when you apply trailing stop loss and profit taking as taught. It's amazing. Discovery starts here. Where are the most promising altcoins on their roadmap? So those of you who have heard about altcoins, these are cryptocurrencies that are not Bitcoin, but they're built on the blockchain. They're like rising asset classes. These, among the thousands of these, a lot of them are junk. There are the future Netflixes of cryptocurrency, the future Amazons of cryptocurrency. So you could just put $100, $250 in one of these, and 5 years from now, that could be astronomical. So this is an additional product to the signals. This is separate. They're called altcoin reports. They go in and they do these really simple reports, and they score them. They give them a rating of consider, strongly consider, or watch. And the reports are super simple. So if you want to get into altcoins, or if you are into altcoins already, these are an exceptionally good tool. Using high value metrics to identify undervalued coins on the verge of explosive growth, analytical professionals evaluate and rate strong undervalued altcoins with the best chances of rewarding you. Really, really good product as well. Here's what I want to emphasize. You are always in control of your Bitcoin. Protect first is the emphasis here, which is extraordinarily unusual in crypto particularly. Grow second. You don't see a bunch of, you don't make a bunch of gains and then lose it all. Like, it's a smart strategy. So you keep your gains along the way. You maintain full control of your money at all times. You maintain control. Your money is always kept in your own secured account, not an account with Unify, your own account. You don't give any of your Bitcoin or any of your money to Unify. Unify does not make money from your trading activities. Okay, so we talked about the emerging asset class and that's where you've got to be if you're ever going to get ahead. And that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency right now and for many, many, many years will be an emerging asset class. We talked about the tools that Unify gives you. The biggest one for most people, most important one being the universal signal that allows anybody, no matter your experience level, and if you don't have the time to think about or learn about trading, to be able to tap into this and start with a conservative amount and be able to build it into something substantial and life-changing, whether that be for retirement or if you're younger, you got kids, grandkids. A remarkable gift. Let's talk about number 3, financial principles, the power of compounding, and we'll do a little bit more number crunching for you to understand how significant this is. You probably recognize this guy, Albert Einstein. I actually got him behind me as well. It's a little dark in here right now, so you might not see him. He said, compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. She who doesn't pays it. He didn't actually say she, but nowadays he would, right? He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. What's he mean by that? He means when you buy a house, you're paying it. He means when you borrow money, your children borrow money for college, you're paying it. You're paying compounding interest. You're on the short end of the stick of it. It's extremely hard to ever get ahead with that unless you have it working for you somewhere else as well. And most people don't. That's what Unify is solving. So let's look at this universal signal compounding calculator. So I really want to focus in on the universal signal because that's something everybody can do. You just use a conservative amount, starting point, and you get the compounding working for you. You can change your life. Let's start with, remember, the universal signal 1 year monthly average was 15.45%. I showed you that before. Let's just start with something more conservative. Let's just go with 8.5%. Let's say that the universal signal does about half of what it did before for conservative estimates. Just to illustrate what you can accomplish in a short period of time. This is a really good plan, guys. Starting balance of 500. Obviously, if you could start with more, the numbers will be even bigger, far bigger. And you can talk with the person who referred you here and play with that calculator and start with what would be a conservative amount of money for you to start with Bitcoin. Follow the universal signals, which is extraordinarily easy. You just come in and you easily get shown how to do it and get set up. And you basically don't have to pay attention to it much anymore, except for just check in every once in a while. It's in your control still, so no one can run off with your money or Bitcoin. Beautiful plan. But let's start with something conservative. I encourage you guys all to play with the calculator and use numbers that you could start with, maybe even less if you need to. Starting balance of $500, pretty conservative for most people when you think about the return. Let's put in 72 months to give it time. So when you're playing with the calculator, you can play with a different amount of months. Let's give it 72 months to give it enough time for the compounding to turn that $500 into something life-changing. We're doing 8.5% compounding to be conservative. Future value, that would turn it into $177,000. It would turn $500 into $177,000. And that doesn't count if Bitcoin goes super high, like most of the experts in the industry believe it will go to 100,000, 200,000. Then this would already be in the millions. Doesn't even count that. But let's take it further. What if you just added $100 a month? Again, something that a lot of people can do conservatively. Maybe for you it's 50. Like again, you can go play with the calculator. If you just added $100 a month, again, you're not giving it to Unify. You're putting it into your Bitcoin account. It's yours. Unify can't touch it. It's not in Unify's account. It's not in an account that's yours that Unify controls. For those of you who aren't traders, I want you to understand, like, you control it. It's yours. It's like a bank account. It's like separate from Unify. Let's say you put $100 a month into Bitcoin, into the universe, and followed the universal signal, which is extraordinarily easy to do. In that 72 months, you would have turned your $500 starting balance with the $100 a month into $600,000. If you added $200 a month, it would turn into over $1 million. Guys, this is a conservative, accelerated plan to building wealth, whatever wealth is for you. If you go play with the calculator and you start with $5,000, the numbers are insane. This is how the wealthy who weren't wealthy when they started, this is how they got that way, which I believe Warren Buffett falls into that category. They used compounding. A lot of them started small. If you don't have a plan for improving your picture for retirement, or if you want to increase your quality of life in retirement, or even if you're younger, you have to tap into compounding. You can't work yourself to death to do it. This is a conservative, accelerated plan to pull it off. You have options. The choice is obviously yours. There's the traditional path of managed financial account in the traditional sector. Long-term strategy, average fees 3.1%. You keep only 50 to 60% of your gains. Vulnerable to market crashes like everyone saw in 2008, and a lot of people are warning is going to happen again. Limited access to your funds. Then there's the crypto coin schemes. A lot of people recognizing that they don't have a plan, got really desperate, and took advantage or tried to take advantage of these crypto coin schemes, particularly last year. Some of them still floating around this year. It's an accelerated strategy, but 94% of them shut down or disappear within the first year. So it's destructive in nature, no access to your funds. And you can really underscore that since 94% of them shut down. Most cases, they run off with people's Bitcoin. And even if you got it out early, if you told anyone about it and they lost money, you burned some bridges. It's destructive in nature, not a smart way to go. Unifi, I've never seen anything as brilliant, as generous, just as built for helping us, truly helping us. Accelerated long-term protect and grow strategy. You keep 100% of your gains at all times. It's in your control. Profit from market crashes. So if you look at these other, you look at other countries whose economies have totally collapsed, Bitcoin went through the roof. You're in full control of your funds at all times. So someone might ask, I haven't even started preparing for my eventual retirement. Can the prosperity use strategies and the universal signal help me get caught up, or even better, retire sooner? The answer is definitely yes. I really want to drive that home, guys. Starting conservative. I've never seen anything like it in terms of setting it up so the average person can actually take advantage. The universal signal technology, combined with proven financial principles and wealth building strategies like the ones I covered today, can knock decades off any retirement target and without needing to trade large sums of money. Okay, so getting started. One-time payment of $279.95. You don't pay that every year. It's a one-time payment to get access so that they can fund the operation. And then I just want to mention, that's to get access for a month. You get access to everything, all the tools, including the universal signal, of course. Prosperity U, of course, you can plug in. We get you plugged into Telegram groups so you can learn all of this. And again, you don't really need those too much in the universal signal. You might want to go in there for a little early support, but then it's extremely easy with the universal signal. If you want to move into the advanced signal, then you definitely want to stay tied into those Telegram groups. The monthly subscription to continue having access. They're continually providing these signals. So obviously it's a subscription base, $79.95 a month. That's it. You don't pay the $279 every year. This was priced and packaged and designed so that everybody could plug in. Everybody could, for most people, for the first time in their life, have a realistic, conservative, yet accelerated plan for wealth building. And again, you define wealth, but play with the calculator. Ask the person who referred you here for access to the calculator online and start with a number that is reasonable for you. Maybe it's less than $500. Maybe it's more than $500 of Bitcoin. And see how much. Play with the number of months. You add a few more months to 72 and it starts getting ridiculously high because of the nature of compounding. This is how the wealthy elite either got that way or how they protect and grow their money if they already were and were born into money. This is how people like Warren Buffett became so wealthy. And there's been many that are alive now that we hear about who weren't wealthy. It was compounding and rising asset classes during their day that allowed them to do this. And even if you don't want to be a billionaire and dedicate your whole life to learning the ins and outs of trading, you can take advantage of compounding and the growth of a rising asset class with the universal signal. It only required trading 7 times in the last year. Absolutely incredible. So my encouragement is, there's a reason why a lot of people are financially struggling, or why they're not prepared for retirement, or why they're in a middle-class crisis. Kids having to borrow money to go to college, living off of credit, or you just, having a diminishing return type lifestyle, or just not having a good plan, or the only way you can make more money is to work harder. There's a reason why people are in that situation, and it's mindset. It's just how you think. The opportunities are all around. I've never seen one so extraordinary and so simple as this, but you still have to actually take advantage of it. So get back with the person who referred you here, ask them for their link, and just come in and put a little in and watch it start growing. All right, guys. Again, my name is Mike Klingler. I look forward to seeing you inside and hearing your success stories. Bye-bye, everybody.